wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. So, with that said, I greet you all, and I hope that all of you are doing as well as possible in your neck of the woods in the universe. Here in South Georgia, it's really nippy outside, and it's kind of nippy in the house too. Didn't put a fire in the wood box. Hey, Miss Chloe, how you doing? And so I haven't put a fire in the wood box tonight. And I looked up at the clock and said, "Wow, man, doggone! Hey, Barry, what you doing?" So I looked at the clock and it's like 2 o'clock, and I'm like, "Man, doggone, it's too daggum late to build a fire now." So I'm sitting here bundled up. I got the heating pad on behind me up on high, and I got my stove, my electric stove on over there. So I'm not freezing to death, but it's chilly. It's chilly. It's chilly in here, and it's chillier outside. So, but anyway, in doing some of my research and stuff, hey, Scotty boy, how are you? Is that right? Yeah. I love you guys too. How you doing? How you doing? So I always leave right away when Hawkeye's on. What? Leave right away. Leave right away from what? Oh, never mind. None of my business. Y'all are chatting in the chat room. But so in doing some of my, I have to watch a lot of videos and read a lot of stuff as a watcher, as a watchman, as part of my duties as a being here, still on this planet. And so, and I accept it. It's okay. It's groovy there's I spent a lot of time watching and learning and listening and seeing what's going down. And so that's where I get some of these crazy ideas of mine. So, but research, you got to research. And when my folks upstairs tell me, "Look, we want you to follow this," or "Here's something we want you to study," or "Here's a video we want you to watch." Well, but I was doing something else. Nope, you're going to watch this video. But can I wait till later? No, we want you to watch it now. But come on, gang. And so I have I say these internal conversations when actually I'm speaking them out loud, like, "Guys, well, I don't want to do this now. Leave me alone. But in my older age, though, as the angel folk or whoever it is that's directing me to learn some of these things or to do research on some items or whatever, um, it's so I can keep up with, what's going on, at least try to, and then try to disseminate some of this information and spread it, chat about it, and, and I leave it up to the universe. For those people who need to hear it, you'll hear it, or they'll hear it, or whoever will hear it, they'll find it. So it's my job, though, just to speak about it and let's have a conversation. Whether or not it's, people think I'm freaking nuts or not, in the long run, at this point, it doesn't matter. And I'm not trying to impress anybody, but I'm just trying to be me and be honest and truthful in that being me kind of thing. But you know, if I was trying to impress anybody, I'd have done it. I'd have done things different. I'm sorry, but yeah, trying to make an impression on anybody doesn't seem to necessarily be in my favor. Angel, Angel, is that right? The crafty halo. My first live chat. Well, bless you. Welcome. We always ask where y'all from. you know, we got folks in the UK and we got folks over here and over there. And so, you don't have to give us your address, but, you know, are you in Kentucky or, or Nebraska or Quebec? We have folks from Canada too. Canada, we have Indiana. Oh, we have other folks in Indiana too. And I got folks in Ohio, and so, but anyway, cool beans. Good to have you around. So you're in Central Time Zone. All right, so it's only 1 o'clock your way, and we got a 20 coming up too. By golly, so Austria. Oh, Dietrich, how you doing? Oh man, Austria. I've always wanted to go there. Honest to God, I'm not trying to placate you or anything. No, honest to God, I've always wanted to go there. Um, ain't the Alps over there in Austria? Am I wrong, or is it? Trying to remember my geography. I was pretty good in geometry back in the day. Yeah, welcome both of yous. That's this. Hi, how are you? So, but Eastern Indiana. Well, they're indeed what something. I didn't understand your first two words, Dietrich. Time zone. Yes, right. Gotcha. The Alps. Oh, yeah. I had a friend of mine, that very dear friend of mine. She was a psychologist and a professor at Valdosta State University in Georgia, and she passed away many years now, but lived almost 90. But she said that after World War II, her husband was a colonel during World War II, that he had been stationed somewhere over yonder, and that she had been to the Alps and so forth, and just was used to tell me stories and talk about them. And and vicariously I was like, man, and she had spent time over there, and and how beautiful it was. And so I've always had this, for last 50 years now, a little bit of affinity towards, Austria and the Alps, and because of some of the stories she told me. But anyway, so my topic for tonight, and y'all chime in, please. And I was watching, uh, I don't know if any of you, or, how UFO informed you are, right? I've been, watching UFOs since I was a 12 or 13-year-old kid in Tampa, Florida, when we saw UFOs flying around Tampa, and we knew they were UFOs before anybody knew what UFOs were, because nothing would go over here and stop for a minute and then fly over here and stop and then come back over here and stop. And I mean, quick. And we had helicopters and stuff back in those days with searchlights in Tampa. So we knew the difference. And all us neighborhood kids were outside playing and looking up at the stars and stuff. And back then you could actually see the stars because there weren't that many um, street lights. Tampa was much smaller in the 60s, but so, and I have had my own. Hey, Miss Pearl, God, I was praying for you again today. I hope things are going well. But for my own lifetime, I've had my own individual sightings of UFOs, like the one I've talked about before. I seen it come out of Tallahassee and get just past overhead, and another one appeared, shot a beam of light. It disappeared. The beam of light went and hit the other one, and it disappeared. And I was like, "Holy crap!" And I've seen one spaceship get blowed up, and the debris was like all over the night sky. It was like, wow. Um, and a few other things in my lifetime. So it would be, for me, it's automatic. Do you believe in UFOs? Yeah. you know And several different kinds. Now, also because I have been, I say a native, a person who has been watching, Dante and his channel for many, many, many years. And there are many things that he has shown, and I'm like, ooh, I believe that, and then there are things that I have experienced in my own time. And it's like, and watching Dante has like verified what I've seen or experienced. I went, oh, he talked about it too. Ooh. So so the right out of the bag, do I believe in UFOs? The answer is yeah. And of course, my however you want to consider association with the Charistus and Dante's channel, missed the 20. Ooh, not quite. It's like now on my clock anyway. Cheers. So knowing that there are at least through Dante's channel and the ARB book and so forth, that there are at least 79 different uh, uh, alien races, and each one of them's got their own kind of spaceship. Okay, now spaceships might be, they like might buy them from a dealer, that makes spaceships, and so that their spaceships are similar, like round or square or triangular or diamond shaped or whatever. So, there are several different types, which are like automobiles in a way, So that's how you can look at them as like, it's like an automobile, you know. Here we got this sport model over here, and it's a little small and it only carries three, and then we got this big mothership, and it looks like the Death Star, you know. and or here, oh, by the way, we have this hollowed out asteroid that's, up for bid, on eBay, you know. So but in that though, there's stuff like that really kind of going on. And as much as those of us lowly human beings down here on earth, we, are subject to, um, you know, lot, as Richard Dolan put it. I just was watching his video before I started this, and that's what prompted this. Um, is that, for the last 80 years, the United States, at least, along with some other countries, not as bad, but to say that UFOs don't exist, they're UAPs now, unidentified yeah, aerial phenomena that Hillary's, that fake Hillary person, brought that up. But so UAPs now, and I'm gonna stick with UFOs. So here are these extraterrestrial folks who've been coming to this planet for thousands of years now. When some folks are trying to say, oh, no, they just showed up back since World War II. No, there's pictographs and things in the pyramids and stuff. No, 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 no. There have been, and also if you have followed Dante at all, he's like, no, we've been around for the last 12,000 years, you know, or, maybe longer, but let's just go with 12,000 years. So here's, the Charistus group that is on obviously with videos and stuff on the internet claiming they've been here for 12,000 years. Wait a minute, what's this thing about? Well, they just showed up here recently. Yeah. So I do believe that whether it's the Charistus group or not, I believe they've been around because they say so and they've got proof. But at the same time, though, I think that there have been other groups that have been coming here for a lot longer, and our DNA has been tampered with. There's a lot of other, you know, uh, ancient texts and scrolls and things have come out, that we have been tampered with. So we, in a lot of ways, we're alien hybrids. that have taken a couple thousand years to, I don't know whether or not they've gotten it right or not, but they have been breeding us for some kind of reason, and here we are, almost 8 billion of us, and now what? And here's a good question that Stan Dale brought up. I'm sorry, Richard Dolan, that he had brought up was that they estimate that there are at least 50,000 sightings a year across the globe, and that at least 20,000 or more are in the United States alone, and that folks don't report them and everything is up, but there are 12 to 15,000 that are reported. But I've seen things that I've never reported. Other people have seen things that they don't report. So it's like, but then there are folks who have videotaped stuff and this, but they don't report it, but they have videotaped it, put it up on YouTube, Mr. MB, I can't remember the rest, but so here's the thing. Now there is a bill in Congress, supposedly, to make the United States government to release information that's that they've been hiding for the last. Yeah, thank you, Mr. MB333. That's the one. I'm absolutely a Shatari Zulu reptilian. Well, that's cool. They keep telling me that I'm Palladian of Palladian descent. Okay. But I have mentioned it over the years, and I try not to dwell on it. Like there are some people that, have want to claim all these rights about who they are, and they've got alien ancestors. I'm just going to say, years ago, my own, as a young boy, before I was 12, 13 years old, you know, always looking up at it in the middle of the night, waking up with my arms on the window like this, looking up at Pleiades, when I was growing up in Tampa. Oh yeah, from Arizona, yeah. Uh-huh. Mr. MB, yeah. And when he first started out, he wouldn't show anything that resembled a UFO. You know what I mean? And over the last 2 years, and at least, and especially the last year, folks have been sending him pictures of UFO type things and clouds that, and with what looks like something behind them. And if you have watched Dante's channel at all, he will show you and has shown us videos and pictures of UFOs hiding in the clouds. That is part of their camouflage. That's the word. So, here's some of the things that have been coming up recently, and listening to Richard in his a YouTube video from just the other day. Some of the declarations he was talking about, it was like, so they want to have this disclosure where it's mandatory that, that the government start disclosing some of this stuff about the UAPs and this and that, and here's the thing. Do you think, one of Richard's comments was, do you think they're actually going to divulge it? They've been keeping this secret for way over 80 years now. I'm 71, so for at least 80 years, they've been covering this mess up. You think they're going to divulge stuff? Well, you got to let us know what you're up to. Okay, here's a file we'll let you look at. Oh, we'll show you another picture of a tic tac. We'll do with this, placate, and then the other discussion is with the government is that there will not be a trickle down disclosure, but it will be a free for all. here's all our stuff and here's what we know, and that ain't going to work. Why? Many reasons. One, we don't know what they got. So how are we going to know if they're going to disclose it all? Because they've been lying and cheating and stealing and keeping secrets for the last 80 plus years. How are we going to know if they gave us the full disclosure? Now, years ago, I thought about this. I was like, no, let us have it. Full disclosure. We want it all. And then I kind of backed up and thought about it some more, versus demanding you tell us. Well, I still feel that way, but demanding you tell me everything right now, I've kind of backed off that, because the things that I know and that's been public knowledge and so forth, and most of everything, guess what? It will blow some people's minds. Okay. And maybe I have seen a couple of things that other folks have not seen. And okay, when we were kids, we all saw the UFOs in Tampa at the same time. Long before UFOs was like a big deal. It was still, we were still, had black and white television sets, for God's sakes. But then later on, as things happen to me personally and things that I've seen, like out in the middle of out on the lake in the middle of the night, and the stars are so bright, and you see things that obviously aren't satellites or airplanes. It's got to be a UFO. Meteors don't go this way across the sky and then disappear. It's got to be something else. Now, it could have been one of ours, but to my point is, it wasn't an airplane, and it wasn't swamp gas. So, and that has happened to me too many times that I quit counting. So do I believe in them? Yeah. But to get somebody else to believe at all that they exist, let alone that there are 79 different known alien races as published by the ARB first edition. Somewhere I have a copy. That, wait a minute, hang on. 79 and counting? Whoa, what's up? Holy crap. And that we're getting 50,000 visits per year, at least, around the globe, and probably more. Why are they here? What the hell do they want? Are abductions up drastically? No, but there have been lots of children and some folks disappear. There are certain groups of folks who have disappeared, and like the fires in Hawaii. And hey, Steve, how are you? Like the fires in Hawaii, and where did they still haven't figured out where? I haven't heard. Have you heard? Have they found all them children's? Have they found all the people? I mean, that is a cluster muck out there. And, there is so much evidence that there was, I'm going to use this word, blue beam technology that set that on fire out yonder and burn up the place. Okay. Meaning blue beams from space, literally like a like a CNC laser cutter cutting out metal, that from up out in outer space, they figured out what part of the neighborhood they wanted, and it went zzz, 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 and went over here and went over there and missed all the other places. That's how I look at it. It's like, what? Somebody, because, me have been in as a 3D AutoCAD designer, as an engineer, and having designed, things that would go out and route and cut and see, and having worked with CNC equipment. So you program it and it cuts it out there. Well, this was like they did the same thing, but with a laser beam from outer space. Bzz, bzz, we're going to go over here to this neighborhood and we're going to go down this street. We're going to go over here. There was one video I saw right after the event because things were still smoldering. And they went into this neighborhood, and here was this vacant lot between some 2-story houses, apartments, something like that. I think some were houses and others were apartments, and with boats in the yard and this, that, and the other thing. And it went up in this vacant field where there were a couple of cars parked, and it burnt them cars to pieces where the aluminum, that guy touched some aluminum on it, on the car, and it turned to dust. And so, and then 30 feet away was an apartment complex that wasn't even scorched. And here were these 2 vehicles, or maybe it was 3, burned beyond belief. That a normal fire would not do this. Burned the rubber off of the wheels. I mean, and nothing else in the neighborhood. And the cars were up in this field to where there were houses and apartments on either side of this field weren't touched. So now who did it? That's a good question. Who did it? Was it us? Or was it one of the alien groups who are trying to make a point? Like, hey, now it could have been us who instructed an alien group to go ahead and do that. And they'd go, oh, okay, we get to destroy something, and hey, let's watch Hawaii burn. Like they have done to Canada and to California and to other places, So this ain't new, you know. So you say, well, I don't know, Dave. It might be one thing to, believe in an unidentified flying something. Yeah, maybe. And that you mean there really are aliens? Yep. Are they all good and nice and no? There's some really bad mofos out there. They slink in the dark. They abduct people and don't bring them back. They just take them. They've abducted adults from all different kinds of places, national forest and parks where somebody goes on a walk and never come back. They never find a body anywhere. They just went for a walk and that was that. Bye. So, and the benevolent ones have had conversations with people. I think years ago, I think some of them were trying to talk to me. I'm not quite sure, but I might have been that I was just crazy at the time. I'm crazy now. And it might be that y'all think that I'm crazy now, which is okay. But with how I choose the animal cards that I do when I do medicine card readings, because I'm kind of tuning into the universe. And when I'm asking for help, I say my guys, but there's some gals up there too, my angel buddies that are up yonder that, prompt me and give me, insights and inspiration, and a lot of times they write on. I mean, they give me information and then later on it'll come back and prove it to me, kind of thing. So in this alien mess, lions and tigers and aliens. Oh my. Now what? Lions and tigers and aliens. Oh my. lions and tigers and aliens, oh my, lions and tigers and aliens, oh my. We're walking down the, you know, we're off to see the wizard, on the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Well, I was talking with a friend of mine tonight until quite late and having conversation, and it was like, um, it's got an alien, you know, and there's information and some like Cliff High. I know I'm dropping names, but Cliff High has been correct on some stuff over the years, and I have a tendency to to pay attention, right? To pay attention. So his recent videos is like the El are coming back, the Elohim, and there's other folks, Stan Deo and some folks who are on the Christian side of things, believe that some of these folks are coming back. So they're coming back. The discussion of these folks coming back are coming from different parties, if you will. This guy is real religious, and here's his 10 cents on it. And Cliff High is very spiritual, but not necessarily religious. And he's got information, and there's information over here that's coming in, and that the Elohim are coming back. Now, these are space aliens. Okay, that's the bottom line. So, can you believe, or if these Elohim showed up and said, "Hi, I'm one of the gods from the Bible"? What? Well, number one, they're in a spaceship. Yeah, but if they come in hidden in a cloud and then appear out of the cloud, some great big mothership, and they wave at you and go, "Hi, I'm from I'm from the government," It's a 3-year-old weed talking. 3-year-old weed? Oh, mine's only 6 months. I got baby weed. Yeah, oh, it's past time, ain't it? But I'll do it with you again. I was bored. It's 2 a.m, and I was like, who can I share a bowl with? So I thought about you. That's the truth. But so in this thing, so what if now I can sit here and say, yep, I think Cliff High is right on the money. I think he's 100% correct. I think the Elohim are on their way back. I think other space aliens are going to show up, and it's going to change everything. Now, I listened to Drake Bailey and some other folks for many years, and I haven't heard anything from Drake in a while. Wondering in his old age, has he made a transition into the other realm? Or if something didn't happen to him, or did they just sort of scrub it? Because I even went, to the, some kind of radio station thing that he used to have a Saturday program, and he hadn't done a Saturday program in a bunch of months. So, but anyway, so these folks were talking about how the space aliens were going to land and how there were going to be med beds and all these other kind of things. And then it's like, but wait a minute. So what happened to these people? Drake was like, saying last year that by this summer, which has already gone by, that they were going to land and they were going to say hi. And that there were going to be more med beds available and this, that. Ain't none of that happened, In fact, I quit. Daggum, got a little catch in my throat. I even quit talking about it because these folks that have, who had been talking about that they were going to come years ago, Ray Kozlandich or something like that. He was tied in with Sam Muggsy, right? And I think she's still got a show. I don't know. I haven't listened to her in a while. But he was, was on her show on a regular basis and interviewed and stuff. And I found them years ago. And then come to find out that he was like, the aliens said that, they've been promising me for years they were going to show up and do this and do that and blah, blah, blah. And he said, I have given them an ultimatum. If they really are who they say they are, and they have promised me this over the whatevers, and he said, if they don't put up, I've told them to put up or shut up. And, if they didn't put up, show what they had been promising me for years or whatever, and that he said, I'm just not going to, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to be your go-between. I'm not going to, I'm not going to participate. And it was about 6 months, and I went back to listen to him, and lo and behold, he quit. He quit talking about it. He quit being whatever, and I was like, what? And he quit being on the Sam Muggsy show. And he just said, nope, if y'all, if the information that I'm getting from is from the aliens, all they're talking about, put up or shut up. And they couldn't put up. And he shut up. He absolutely shut up. Now, I bring that up because the last time I had heard Drake talk about anything, now I went into the hospital with a heart attack and some other things, and my regular listening of things got out of whack. And so I was like, I woke up one day and I went, wait a minute, where's Drake? Wait a minute, where's this person? Wait a minute, where's Stewart? And I still can't remember his last name. And where's him and his wife? And where's this other guy that used to have a YouTube channel? Where are these people? What happened to them? Connecting consciousness. And I still can't remember that guy over in the UK. And if anybody can help give me his name, I would appreciate it. Because I would love to go out and check and whatever. Stuart Little. No, that's funny, Chloe. It wasn't. He disapproved, and Tommy was still there. See me, feel me, touch me, heal me. The pinball wizard, not Tommy, no. Tommy was the guy from UK. No, that ain't not who I was thinking about. Simon Parks. That's, oh my God. Did y'all think of that, or did it come to me? No, Simon Parks is who I was thinking of, actually. Roger Daughtry. Marta from Austin, Texas. I don't know who that is. But anyway, I got a fresh dose. Anybody want to join me? No, Simon did not do a show with Drake. That's true. And I was not trying. I'm saying the folks that I used to listen to disappeared, and I couldn't remember Simon's name. So Simon disappeared, and then Drake disappeared. Not that, no, I didn't mean to suggest that they had talked with each other or whatever. No, I'm sorry. And if I made that impression, I'm sorry. But no, I was just saying in those folks who disappeared off of my screen, and folks that I used to listen to every Saturday afternoon, I'd tune into Drake, and where'd he go? I still got the link still kind of sort of works, but there's no radio shows. And ain't been one there in months. So where'd you go? Because I could at least go in if I didn't catch him on Saturday. I could go in and Blog Talk Radio. That's the name of the where he had a thing for years. And I went back to try to look at some of his older stuff, and some of that's been removed. So it's almost like Drake has been scrubbed in a certain way. And I can't remember the lady's name because my computer lost its guts, and I lost a bunch of links. And she disappeared off of YouTube, and I tried to find her on Rumble, and it was like, well, where did she go? Where did these people go? Because she was interviewing Drake. She was the last time I had heard Drake. Well, she disappeared, and so did he. And I was like, well, now that's weird. So talking about UFO stuff and this, that, and the other, med beds and all of the above, right? And of course, Drake was always talking about, gun rights and so forth. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, you talk about guns and this and that and stuff. I don't talk about that kind of thing, mainly because I'm a felon, and shouldn't be talking about that kind of thing. But, Georgia has an open carry law, yay for us. So, and I have talked about guns in the past, and the people that I've met in stores that have, had a sidearm that was showing, no problem there. But anyway, I'm glad that I'm in an open carry state, even though, uh, and if I tried, I could probably get a gun, a firearm, but I'm just too old, and maybe I'll reconsider. But at the moment, I'm content. I don't need a handgun. I got enough weapons. And if you're going to come down here and try to murder me or whatever, okay, you're going to have an argument with Duggar first, and plus I got my 22 air rifle, that only takes one cock, and can shoot again. I'm stored up with pellets, of different velocities. I have my crossbow. I have bows and arrows, right behind me. I've got a baseball bat, you know, um, and so I've got weapons of personal destruction, especially if somebody gets close enough. So and if I go out somewhere, well, I have lived this many years. Not to say that I can't be shot or somebody take a pot shot at me, because I have been beat up when I was out in public before, and almost put me in the hospital. Well, actually, that it did. It just wasn't right then at the time of the incident. But so, I have been beat up, and in Tallahassee one time, and in a car, drunkard and snot, but I was still beat up. Um, a gun wouldn't have done me any good anyway, you know. I shot that son of a bitch. Well, I was beat up so bad I couldn't have found the gun, and I was drunk. Even if it had been in the glove compartment, I couldn't have found the glove compartment. But so and guns aren't always the solution to stuff. So, but anyway, and what's that got to do with ET? What do guns have to do? Well, it has to do with whether or not we're going to have a civil war over them son of guns. Well, if ET lands on the White House lawn, it depends on who they are. If it's the Charistus group, with the angel folk and Dante and them and all, I'm hi, how you doing? If it's the Mater or the Vlash who land, and they got their reptilian dogs and so forth, and some other critters, and some of these shadow beings that are working for them, uh Cassiopeans? That's an interesting way to spell that with a K. Christina, what? Chris from Blog Talk? Oh, yeah, another being. Yeah. We were talking about Cassiopeia tonight, my friend and I. So, but anyway, so one of the things that no matter how you stretch it, push it, ignore it, UFOs ain't going away. Space aliens ain't going away. Now, that's just they've just been around too long. They are not going away. So for people to continue to deny that they do not exist, and I don't believe them. I don't believe that them spots up there. People fake the photographs, and they with video today, it's so easy to to fake it. Yeah, but there are people who are doing like live videos, of you know spaceships. They may belong to us now. I ain't gonna say, but they're out there. So and the incidents are going up. So are they really going to land on the White House lawn anytime soon? Well, with the incidents of sightings, do they have to land on the White House lawn? Because people everywhere are seeing them. There are little old granny ladies. I was watching something the other day, and it was about an incident down in Chile, I believe. Well, with Machu Picchu and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of space aliens been down there for a long time, right? So, but this was in Chile, and it was about how something went over this small village up in the higher elevations, and that every one of the people in this little village developed something, a disease or something anyway. But that in that village and in lower elevations, they had all seen a bunch of UFOs over this village like the night before. And so then when they went up there, I can't remember what had happened, and it hasn't been too long ago. But the thing is the people on the lower elevations had video of what was going on over that village. So, the Chilean government were like, they're a lot more open than other governments, but they were like, there are 20 people standing on the street with their cell phones, videotaping it. And then the next day or so, they go up and there's whatever that went on in the village, and they were like, "Woo, must have been aliens." Well, so what were they doing? And what were they? If they claimed that there was some kind of spray or powder or dust or something, right? So what were they doing with that dust or powder? Trying to kill us? Or was it an experiment? And I can't remember exactly what happened. I want to say that the people got killed. It was like there were 30 people in this little village or something. And they were all, I'm not sure about that. Okay. But something happened to the whole village is the main point, and that it was videotaped by folks down the mountain. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There are still people disappearing. There are children, whole groups of folks just gone. And Dante talked about it in one of his videos about, and that there are this particular group that I can't pronounce that are like shadow folk, and that whole villages of people. There have been over the years, up over the many years, have just disappeared. Where did the people of such and such go? There was a place up in Connecticut, I think, or New Hampshire, or somewhere up there in New England, where, you know, to this day, or it was Pennsylvania maybe, or maybe it was both. But there are just a bunch of people in a village or a small community, they just all disappeared, not a trace, right? So that's some of these, you know, not so nice aliens versus the other folks who are the, I would say, the angel group of folk who are trying to help mankind and to try to promote, you know, communication between them and us, you know, not so much about, you know, Dante's never said anything curiously about them ever sharing any kind of technology, you know. Hey, Katniss. Oh, get to catch you tonight, don't I? I don't have. I'm not going to hang up right away, like I did last night on you. Um, but oh, Katniss, since you're in the UK, do you know who Simon Parks is, by any chance? Ever heard of him, by any chance? Just curious. I finally remembered his name, and I thought I'd ask you since you're in the UK. But so with this understanding that lunch, yes, aliens exist. Yes, sir. If aliens exist, then the UFOs must exist. Now, here's something that, and listening to Cliff High, he has talked about, you know, that E equals MC squared. Simon Parks, as in park your car, Parks. He is used to do stuff in the UK and travel around and talk about space aliens and things and stuff. And anyway, and connected with Connecting Consciousness was the group. So I just, you're in the UK and so was he, and just curious if you'd heard of him. So if not, it's groovy. What is that? One day, oh, but AAA didn't tell one record company about my long, muddy driveway. Wasn't able to help. Oh, AAA. God, I was thinking of batteries. AAA batteries. Hey, Wire, how you doing? Kennesaw, Georgia law states that every head of household residing in the city limits is required to maintain a firearm. There's been one murder in the last 6 years at violent crime rate below 2%. And that's, oh crap, it went by. Where Kennesaw, is that what you said? Would you repeat that? It went by and I got like this much space. I'm still doing the cell phone thing. Fine as far as I know. It's minus 2 degrees Celsius here. It's about that here, actually. Kennesaw, yeah, where the mountain is, as in Kennesaw Mountain. Yeah. I had a friend of mine that used to live up there. Doesn't anymore, but he used to back in 70s. That's a long time ago. Here's the 20 early. We got 17 minutes. So now that I've remembered his name, what is up, Duggar? He was asleep on the damn bed over there. Leapt across the room. Would you, what? It must not be too bad. He's going back to the couch. It's too friggin' cold for me. It was bad enough for him to get up and jump and, you know. It's 26 in eastern North Carolina, 17 degrees last night. Wow. Yeah, it was like 32 degrees here this morning, I think. Um, yeah, it's chilly. And I didn't light a wood fire tonight. Had a friend of mine that was here and we just kept yapping, and next thing we knew, I looked at the clock and it was 1 o'clock. And I was like, it's just Johan, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. You could have been lurking though. But I don't have a wood fire in the bin tonight. And I was like, it's already 2 o'clock. I'm not going to start a fire now and waste the wood. But I'm sitting here with the heating pad on and my feet in front of the electric heater over here. And I've got 2 layers of clothes on for sure. So, and, wished I had a blanket on my legs because they're cold. But, you know, I'll make it. I'm a tough old bird. And it's better than being freaking hot like during the summertime. But so y'all stay warm wherever you may be. But so trying to stick with my topic of the with the UFO thing. It's like, so the disclosure is ongoing because mainstream news is talking about it, right? So my Aunt Shirley of 87 years old, um, soon on December 7th. Happy birthday early. But that, wait a minute. She's like, you mean aliens, space, they're UFOs are real, David? Yeah, Aunt Shirley, they really are. Now I might tell her, I've seen them before, Aunt Shirley. What? So yeah, but yes, I believe him. And yeah, but so it might help her to know that, yeah, I have seen him, Aunt Shirley. you know so yes, I have believed it for a long time. I haven't talked to you about them because I knew it would freak you out. But since you saw it on the news and now it's kind of open for discussion, yeah, Aunt Shirley, I have seen UFOs. Not up close, mind you, but you know yep. Oh, wow, really? Yep. So there's some so with my Aunt Shirley of 87 years old, who's getting a little dementia, she's seen enough movies and stuff. She's seen Alien before and all this. She's had Netflix. So she's seen enough movies with aliens and things in them to not be surprised. But she would be surprised that the government said, "Oh yeah, they're real." So, using her as just an example, a lot of other people her age that are just going to freak out and go, "What? There space aliens exist?" Yeah, we won't talk about that there are 79 different varieties that, that just in just in book 1. And there's probably more, but we won't go there. And yeah, there are some really nasty SOBs out there, and there are some nice ones. Not necessarily benevolent, but they ain't bad ones. Okay, so they're just sort of they come to go lounge on the beach. There are some aliens that have been known to they because of Area 51 out in Las Vegas. There are some aliens that love to go to Las Vegas. you know what? Viva Las Vegas. They're playing, Elvis Presley across the universe. Viva Las Vegas, because the aliens want to go and gamble. Viva Las Vegas. Can you imagine that? Driving this spaceship and Viva Las Vegas, played in the background, and all these aliens are grooving to it. That would just be phenomenally funny. But if the rumors are true, then it could very well be be going on. It's like, what? Yeah, that oh my God, they could be playing, Viva Las Vegas, because they're on the way to Area 51 for, a council with, whoever, and they need a tune up on their spaceship, and they've come to visit the chancellor of Mangua or something, they're Mongo, and uh, Mongo is Flash Gordon, Flash. Ah, you know, needs a couple. Alice and Peaches. Um. So anyway, but so now there are really weird things that are going to pop up, like as Cliff High has suggested. That did you know that the moon was hollow? Did you know that there is an alien base on the other side of the moon? What? Yeah, NASA has known about it for all these years, and they didn't tell you. Did you also know that the reason that American flag was waving in the wind on the moon is because there's actually wind on the moon? What? Yeah, there's actually a an atmosphere on the moon. You wouldn't want to breathe it, and there's there's still an atmosphere, and with oxygen, not much, but some other noxious toxic gases um, created by the fine particles of dust on the moon that fly up and get in your nose, and so and it probably smells like a petri dish, but that that wait a minute. So the flag that we all said, how come that American flag is waving? Well, there's not supposed to be anywhere air, but oh, it was this, and it's been, there was tension in the wire that was holding it out. Nah, there was wind blowing that flag that we kept going like this. No, 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 no. No. Let's tell the truth here. So, but here's the thing. So if the government orders them to divulge information on UFOs, are they actually going to do it? Are they going to follow the order? And if so, they're going to throw out a couple of pages and go, here you go. Are they really going to tell us? Are they really going to give us the nitty gritty dirt stuff kind of thing? I don't think so. And listening to Richard Dolan, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the UFO guys. I think he used to work for the government and trying to discredit UFOs. And the more he tried to discredit them, the more he found out that they were real. I think that's the guy. There was somebody out there in the UFO community that's happened to, and my memory says I think it was Richard Dolan. It might be somebody else, and I'm mistaken. But anyway, but he's been in this for the last 30 odd years, right? So studying it and getting real reports and all this stuff. So listening to his opinion, I was like, that's true. How are we going to know? How can we trust these sons of bitches? When they've lied to us for 80 years. How's this going to work? And also, the Air Force has their list and the Navy has theirs. What? Well, yeah, because the UFOs are flying, the USOs are in the water. So the USOs is like the Navy has all the records on them because the Air Force is up there and they don't know. So and vice versa, the guys in the Navy on the water can't see what's going on up yonder much. So so which one of the armed services is going to divulge the information? And if it's and how they word it. So what does NASA know that they ain't telling us? Now, a couple of years ago, and one of these days, I hope I could find it. And I've talked about this before, but I was watching on the big screen, my TV, at several years ago, and had it hooked up to my laptop. I can't do that now with this new one, but I had my older computer hooked up to my laptop so I could have a big screen, right? And I was on the NASA website, and it was live streaming from a camera on the space station. And I'm just watching it, and I was looking at it, and I was in this mode, sort of like 2 in the morning kind of thing. And like, UFOs and this and that. And I was just going on in my head. And all of a sudden, out of the darkness, coming towards the space station, was this gigantic, I mean, gigantic spaceship. And all of a sudden, the screen went blank. And I was like, what? And I got my video camera out, which, was a tape at the time. And I had it on tripod and pointed it at the television and turned it on. And I was doing and they still had the feed going, but it was blank, right? And I was pointing at the thing, and I was cussing and fussing and talking to the camera, sort of like I'm doing now. But I was just recording, going, did you, just a few minutes ago, right here on this channel, the NASA channel, there was a giant UFO that was at this, and about that time, like they were listening to me, the screen popped back on, and there it was, the giant spaceship. They had turned the camera back on for like a couple of seconds or something, and then they turned it back off. And I caught it on camera. I got it on tape somewhere. And I was like, holy shit. I mean, oh, but so yeah, and I've seen UFOs on their own NASA feeds, our side or theirs, I don't know, but it was huge. It would have made the space station look like about this big. I mean, this thing, when it came out of the dark into the light, of closer to the space station, it swallowed it up. It took up everything. There was nothing but spaceship there. There was nothing, you couldn't see anything behind it. It was monstrous. So, there's another, thing that I have witnessed and saw, and I've seen some other tapes and things from, NASA feeds, and where there are UFOs over here in the corner, and there are some spacewalks where if you look in the background, there's a spaceship over there. So them sons of guns are out there. Who they are and what they're doing, that's another big question. But to the point of, whoa, we got 2 minutes. I'm loaded for bear. Lions and tigers and aliens, oh my. Lions and tigers and aliens, oh my. So why am I bringing this up? Because there are some remote viewers, and Cliff High and some other folks, who are all saying similar things. That even Stan Deyo and some of the, I don't mean this badly, but some of the Christian crowd, they've been following, the revelations and this and that, and following the planets and what's going on in Planet X and things like that. And, and the general consensus is, along with a lot of us who just feel that something's coming, something major. Don't know what, don't know. I my general feeling is there might be some people who have a heart attack, but I don't know if it's going to be a catastrophic event. And there are some folks who are like, it's going to be catastrophic from the results of it. Like, people, oh my, you mean God is really a space alien? What? You mean they really did tamper with our genes way back in the day? They really did tinker with us? Really? Honest to God? Yep. Oh shit. So that right there, I believe that for years. But other folks, even those folks who might believe in UFOs, are going to have a big time swallowing that one. Because one thing that has been taught in schools is evolution. Okay. Now there's the evolution group, and then there's the group that said God made us like that. And Adam and Eve and the Bible and the story and all that. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to disagree, but one thing my friend and I were talking about tonight, and I said, one of the things that, when they were let out of the Garden of Paradise, as the Bible reads on, there are other people there. And he was like, what? No, there weren't. Adam and Eve were the only two people. And I said, look, how did Adam and Eve make all these people? So he had a couple of sons and daughters. So the sons and daughters started sleeping with each other. And that's where all other people on the earth came from. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I have never believed that. And he was like, but yeah, that's the will of God. And that's what it says in the Bible. And I was like, there's some underlying, if you read along it, it indicates that there must be people there, not just Adam and Eve. So Adam and Eve was in the Garden of Paradise and they had everything took care of. And then till they broke the rule, right? They broke that rule. So it was like they were in, if you have heard the stories of Shangri-La, for example, that Eden was a physical place, right? And that they were let out into the world. It didn't necessarily mean that there wasn't anybody here. No, it means that they were expelled from the Garden of Paradise. So if they were living in a Shangri-La kind of situation and they had all their needs met and their food and everything was good, then all of a sudden, they eat the fruit and woo, that's that. And now they're expelled. So, okay. And now you got to wear clothes and now you got to, now you got to keep from getting, eaten by a dinosaur. And now you got to, hunt and do, and hunt and gather. And now you now you need moccasins. Now, now you need a place to live, you know. So they were expelled from the Garden of Paradise. Okay. But the fact that there was nobody on this planet but them, because of all the begotten and stuff that, that Adam and Eve made all these people just from the two of them. Nah, And so this thing of, when Dante's talked about this, he said, if you think we came from monkeys, think again. No, we did not come from monkeys. We came from, we were sort of we were sort of like a Neanderthal, more like uh, um, a good kind of Neanderthal. We lived in caves because it was convenient. And now that they're finding all of these caves that have been carved out of these mountains, the idea of a caveman doesn't sound so weird, And they keep finding subterranean things that were carved out of mountains and dug out, so there's a lot of underground stuff out there that's ancient. It ain't a couple of 100 years old. No, this it's 2,000 or 3,000 years old. So it's like, I believe it or not, but they're over in the Jerusalem area of Israel, and they're over there in uh, uh, not Pakistan, but Iran, and over there in Mesopotamia area. And it's like, no. So there are rumors of things and legends of things, but now they're finding some of these things actually existed. So caveman, but Turkey. Thank you, Steve. But not just Turkey. There's, they found caves, out west. There are caves in other places. I think in Illinois or Indiana, that their southern part they found some stuff. Like almost like pyramids and things, where the Mississippi and the Ohio River meet, and there is almost like a Stonehenge there, and just other stuff. Glad I was smoking one anyway, without knowing the time. Yeah, and I've been yakking for 5 minutes and missed mine, so I'm gonna catch up. So there are some people that I kind of sort of want to, grab a hold of and go, listen, aliens are real, you know, UFOs are real, it's not a made up story, you know, um, for whatever reason, because at some point, these folks who just, won't think about it, at some point in the future, not by me having anything to do with it, they're going to have to learn about aliens. They're going to have to come to grips with, uh-oh, you mean this shit is real? And the other part of that, as Cliff High points out, and so did Drake and some other people, and I would agree that if they actually do come down here out of a cloud and sit down and have a conversation, oh, they're going to tell us all about our true history and where we came from, and the real, the real thing about the Bible and God and some things and stuff, and they're going to straighten us out. Well, some of these folks ain't going to buy it. My buddy was like tonight. I'm sorry. He said, just like I wouldn't buy certain things in the Bible, he ain't buying what, some of these ETs might say. That the Elohim, even though there's a lot of information about it, the Elohim, and in that, nope, they didn't create us. God did. So my argument was simple. Couldn't God have sent the Elohim to create us? No, God could create us just like that. And I was like, okay. So that's where we disagree on some things. But because I believe that, God could create us, but he had to have a seed, had to be implanted, because, Jesus, he had to be born from Mary, God couldn't do it like that. Otherwise, he would have. So I should bring that point up to him. But anyway, so and my argument was that God made oak trees. Okay, so the Creator created oak trees, but did he put the oak? Was the tree like 30 years old and he plopped it down into the ground? Or from my point of view, Creator made an oak tree from an acorn. He went around like Johnny Appleseed, if you can picture that, and was planting, oak trees from acorns. And from the tiny acorn, the mighty oak grows, or there's some kind of something. But only God can make a tree. But I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree whose head. And I used to know that. one of the first poems read way back in, but anyway, I'm trying to remember the lady's name, but so a tree, so the creator made a tree, but in my opinion, he made it, it came from an acorn. It came from a seed, like other things, So which came first, the chicken or the egg? I think the egg did, you know. Well, wait a minute, where'd you get the chicken? Well, where'd you get the egg? You could argue either point, but from an egg sprouts a chicken, and there is growth and birth, and there's all this birthing thing going on. Um, and and the energy there and so forth. And that, so, and it, to me, it makes sense that whoever is bringing things to the earth or creating them here on the earth has got a whole spaceship full of shit. And they're just, here's a willow tree, and ooh, let's plant some oak over here, and how about some pines over there, and they're just, now to me, because of other things that I have read and studied over the years, that there were ancients, the ancient builder race, for example. Well, what were they building? Well, the pyramids could have been one of them, but that, no, the ancients were here for on behalf of the Great Spirit, if you will, and they went around like gardeners. And some of these folks were huge. They were 75 feet tall, and and they were here first, and like Göbekli Tepe and stuff like that. Who moved them giant stones, and who put them there? How did they carve them, and and stuff like that? Well, they all want to know, if you up, and I've talked about this before too. Folks are not counting the giants in this deal. So as old as Göbekli Tepe is, and some other places, in my opinion, if these giants from the builder race, we're here like Spock and them in the Star Trek, that they literally were here and seeded the plant. They were master gardeners. They were sent here by the Creator to do it. Now, folks say, whoa, you can't be talking about, no, God created the earth in like 7 days, well, 6 days and a rest. And, wait, yeah, well, but does that really make sense to you? And for me, and so between my friend and I was talking about, I had pulled one of my medicine cards, right? And I can't remember which one, but it was that you have to peer into the void, you know, and that you have to allow yourself. I think it was Swan. It was, and I was talking about Grace and how she went into the dream time, and Dragonfly was there, and he said, "Why do you want to go in there?" And it was like, well, and so the only way that you can get into the dream time is if you accept what the Creator has in store for you. And so Swan was like, well, I don't know, but I have faith. And so I have the faith that I will accept whatever the Creator has in store for me. So Dragonfly said, good answer. You That's the key to getting in there. So Swan entered the dream time, and 3 or 4 days later showed back up as the Swan. And Dragonfly was like, what the hell? Where did you? And Swan said back, I learned much while I was in the dream time. And I learned that I accepted what the Creator had in store for me, and also in the future. And now I'm not an ugly duckling anymore. I've transformed into a swan. And I have learned how to accept the grace from the Creator. and there's more to it, but that's basically it, right? So it's like in that discussion, I was like, see, so Swan went into the dream time, and the void, which is through meditation, and it even said through meditation and and fasting, you know, and you got to clean yourself out if you're really honestly want to go on a on an internal journey. You want to clean your system out. And many Native Americans, like drummers, that for the big drums at powwows, a lot of those guys will fast at least a day before. And I know some guys that from up in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, and they come all the way down here to drum in a drum. But they would fast for a day or so before they drum, because they were um, um, so spiritual, that because the drum is the heartbeat of Mother Earth, and because the drum is sacred, that you can't just go over there and go beating on it like this. No, they literally prepared a whole day in advance. you know Dorothy got all high in the poppy fields. That's true. Speaking of high, let me do this again while we're sitting here. um Johann, what what about sweat lodges? I missed something. Anyway, um, I don't want to wear my glasses, and if I watch what y'all are talking about, then I can't stay on topic. Um, but so there were giants in those days. Genesis says it so, and we have, there have been um, bunches of pictures and things and stuff, and that there were giants here. Well, you can't find some of these videos now. It seems like they've been scrubbed. But I remember when the internet first came out, and I was first looking for things and doing study on giants and stuff. I remember that they had pictures of giants that was like 75 feet tall. Imagine, a 20-foot giant means his head would touch my second story roof line on the outside. You know, 20 feet? Really? I mean, that's tall. But a 75-foot giant? Holy son of a gun. But here's the thing, there were giants in those days. So now, whether or not you believe in the ancient builder race, which from what I had read and understood were giants. So they planted, Göbekli Tepe, and how far back does that go? Who else could move rocks like that? Who else would need to move rocks like that? Who built the pyramids? Giants. Come on, let's be serious about this. Oh, no, you can't mention that. Now, if one of these days the space aliens come down and go, giants helped build the pyramids, I'm going to shit a brick. You know what I mean? I'm going to like, what? It was right, because nothing else makes sense. Now, an alien technology makes sense to move the rocks or whatever. But, it also makes sense that giants would have been there to help them out. I mean, and if the giants were part of the ancient builder race, in my mind of thinking, but see, other folks, no, that can't happen like that. No, no, the giants, no, they were just dumb and ate people. But yeah, I mean, they could have tamed a few of them. Did all of the giants do? You know, um, there have been cannibals of just regular white people and brown people and other folks, too. But is everybody a cannibal? No, not everybody eats meat, or red meat. A lot of folks don't eat pork, for example. So no, um, just because pork's on the menu don't mean that everybody eats it. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, so in the grand scheme of things, a long time ago, so we already know from skeleton remains that giants existed. Um, so we got to accept it. Well, I don't really know. Sorry, whether you believe it or not, they were here. Now, the same thing's going to come out about aliens. So 65% of the population already believes in aliens. So it's not going to be that much of a sell, if you will. And what about Project Bluebeam? You know, where they're going to have where they're going to have an alien invasion to try to scare the shit out of everybody, you know. It's going to be hard if they're sitting on the ground in front of you to make it up. When the hatch opens up, like the day in the movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, and that, you know, that alien robot came out of that spaceship, I'm thinking, I don't know about the new one, but the old one was like creepy. You know, the original um, movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still. And I'm trying to remember the guy's name that was the alien, but Remy something, anyway. But, you know, so when that robot came out and just stood there and they were all standing around watching, and then he came out, you know, there was a moment there, you know what I mean? So, and, you know, these days are not the 1950s, obviously. So folks who are, here's going to be the thing. Oh, look, there's a spaceship over there with aliens. Hi, you know, here, hey, y'all, look, son of a bitch, get your cameras out. And they'll all be wanting to take selfies with the aliens, right? So versus, you know, oh my God, there's aliens. Woo, you know. Now, if it's the bad guys, y'all going to have to run. Yeah, or run, you know, don't go near them guys. No, you know, and their ray guns only go so far. They can't shoot across the parking lot. They're short distance, sort of like a taser, you know. And no, most of them don't have firearms, and a lot of them do bleed. Shoot for the head, you know, headshot. Same thing with zombies, you know. So we can have a zombie apocalypse, but some of these mofos are 7 foot tall and are strong. I mean, like lift 1,000 pounds strong. So you want to go up there and give them a karate chop. And if they get a hold of you, they're going to throw you across that football field. So these beings are strong, very strong, with claws and teeth and stuff, and they're going to hurt you, you know. So can they be killed? Yes, but it's going to be difficult. Sort of like some of them alien movies where the guys wearing the thing, and then I think it's Alien versus Predator. I think that's the one. So the Predator is like the really monster versus the alien who's trying to kill the predator, you know. But anyway, so as Dante has pointed out, there are messages in the movies. And sometimes if here's this is my take. If there's a message in a movie, it must mean that the movie is important. Otherwise, the Christus wouldn't leave a message in the movie. They wouldn't be interested. So, like in the one of the Loki um, Disney thing, one of the episodes, I think it was towards the end of season 1. There's a sign, and he's standing right by it, and there's a conversation, and Loki's he's been demoted from being a god. He's been thrown out of Asgard, and but there's and I have to watch the episode again. But when I watched it the first time, I went, "Oh my God, there's a there's a sign, here's your sign, you know." But so did that mean what he was discussing that episode, that because there was a sign that that episode was important? You see what I'm saying? So, but anyway, but things come to us in different forms and fashions that are important for us to understand because they're giving us the disclosure in every movie and this and that. They're talking about it. And now that it was in the main news and they're showing pictures and stuff and a jet's following one and all that, now folks are like, it's really out there. So how much more comes out is going to be interesting. But the subsets in the data are saying that it is. So how are you going to react to some of this information? Because I've talked at length and in depth about some of this stuff, and other folks are like, well, I don't know about this, Dave. That's some far out shit, but sorry, gang, but this is our reality. As much as you want to try to say it don't exist or try to run away from it, go ahead, get away from this one. I'm not trying to be rude or mean, but go ahead. You're not going to run from it. The only way to run from it would be to kill yourself, and that's should not be an option, right? So here's the thing that's going to be interesting to me. How are we going to react? Say it's the Charistus group that lands out there versus the Tall Whites or somebody, right? So the Charistus group's out there and they pop out of their spaceships and they pop their wings out and they show that they're angels and that they have been connected with, this lineage for so long. And this is how it's been. And Dante is going to show up and show some folks, that, some real things because he has proof, and he's going to disprove some things like the crown of thorns, for example, that he talked about in one of his videos. And it was like, what? So it's going to, if they're going to show up and have these kinds of conversations, which he's already been doing. So for the last 14 years, Dante's been presenting things and a different point of view and using the Bible and showing things, and so how is the rest of the population going to take it for real? Wait a minute, Dante is Azazel, and Putin is Danielle, and this motorcycle guy in the Ukraine is Gabrielle. No, wait a minute. Whoa. But then the Elohim arrive in their spaceship and they come down and they go, yep, yep, that's true. That's who they are. There are four brothers. And see that sign that's been on a cave wall for the last 12,000 years? Yep, that's their sign. That's their mark. That's their mark that they were here 12,000 years ago in this cave. Well, wait a minute. Who else can say that? How can you prove it? Well, you prove it by the signs on the wall or on literally on the cave wall, right? So it's like, well, hang on. Who else can make those kinds of comments? Who else can make those kinds of comments and show the evidence like Dante has? So he goes, well, I don't believe him. Well, if a spaceship lands in your front yard and they go, hi, and they got wings, then I'm going to go, oh, maybe, I do believe Dante, but I would really believe Dante You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I got faith, and yeah, I've seen stuff, and yeah, I can look in his eyes and tell that, I don't think he's been faking it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been following him for all these years. But to actually see one of these folks, one of these angels with their wings out, oh my God. Talk about, oh my God, if I thought I had any doubt, I believe, I believe, I believe, I would be like, oh man, I thought I believed before, but I really freaking believe now. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like I was talking about, having these shaman things, being in the middle of the lake and taken up into the universe and so forth. That one time I really believed it, and they showed me a bunch of stuff. And then I was out there, on the lake, a few months later, and they took me up into the universe, and I was like, whoa, I really believe some even more now, so there are levels. Yeah, I believe. No, man, I really freaking believe. Oh, you don't just believe? Well, yeah, but no, man, I really believe. Down in my gut, I believe. So, but so anyway, it would be interesting, and would be welcome. I'd go, thank you, Jesus. Literally, I got to see an angel before I died. I didn't have to die to see an angel. Wow, ain't that freaking cool? Maybe with fingers crossed, who knows? It might, I'm not dead yet. So, and the fact that they, republished one of the videos that I did back in the day, they know who I am. So, guys, before I die, it'd be really cool to see one of y'all with your wings. That would just be sweet. you know. But anyway, and it would be cool to meet y'all too. But so just putting it out there. What do I want out of life? What do I want out of life? To meet a real space alien that's an angel. Saying I could see him with their wings. Wow. Like, howdy, dude, or do that, depending. But so anyway, um, that just to me, that would be special, that'd be icing on the proverbial cake. To get kill two birds with one stone in a way, to actually see an angel and meet a space alien, Can I go for a ride, So um way back in the day when I was doing a lot of mushrooms, I was out here on the property, and the field didn't have any trees in it. Now there's a forest and the field has gotten smaller, but it's still big enough. But anyway, was out there in the field, tripping my, self off with some shrooms, and looking at, there are not many lights out here where I live. And so the sky is really clear. Like tonight, with it being cold, the stars are right out. And you probably know what I mean. And I don't have any. I've got lights in the yard that are all down low, but no um, utility security lights right around me. The one over here by this neighbor is actually they moved the light for me, so thank you anyway. But so looking at the night sky is really fantastic, and you can reach up and touch the stars, right? And so with that, you can, if you're willing to go out when it's chilly and the sky is that clear, and just be patient, you'll see meteors, you'll see all kinds of stuff, you know. And depending on where you are, northern latitudes or southern, and of course what time of year. But no matter what, them puppies are flying in and out all over the place. Who do we have to convince that UFOs exist? The general public? Do we have to convince the military? Is it all right for the military now It's sort of like show and tell, hey, I'm gay and it's okay, and I'm a Marine? Or is it, hey, I'm a pilot, and I have seen several UFOs that have flown around my aircraft, like the Foo Fighters did back in World War II, and you're going to let me talk about it without me losing my pilot's license? What? Now that would be disclosure. They wouldn't have to show you anything. Just make it okay for pilots to talk about it. Because even local, even commercial airliners are, don't like to talk about the stuff they see, because they'd be laughed out of their captain's seat and wouldn't be allowed to fly. So, but they talk about it amongst themselves. So if they passed a law that brought it out into the open, then it would also mean that aircraft, anybody flying an airplane who saw something strange could now talk about it without fear of being ridiculed. I think that would be a good idea. That would be one way to start to for disclosure, because normal folk who fly airplanes that carry people all over the planet have seen these things, and now they got a story, and this is what we saw. And me and my pilot and my my radio engineer guy, we saw it out the front window, and it passed us by and did us something. When was that? Well, it was about 2 days ago. One almost clipped a wing, it was flying by so fast. When was this? Oh, last week, just before Thanksgiving. What? So when those kinds of conversations can come out in the open, not just Navy pilots, but regular folk who have commercial pilot's license and so forth, but when they can talk about it and bring it into that there can also be the radar operators in the towers of all the major airports, who can vouch for strange things appeared and traveling across their radar screens um, at great speeds and weird directions and stuff. So let them tell their stories without being ridiculed by the FAA, FAA. And so and allow the military folks to talk about it without being ridiculed or fired or demoted within the ranks. So that, to me, that would be a good place to start with disclosure. And it's already started, but you want to kick it up a notch, then that would mean that full disclosure is coming, because then other folks could come out of the woodwork who aren't pilots, but who may be like cops or state patrol or some, and they may be on the ground, but they can say, well, this pilot talked about seeing one, and and they were flying over Kansas, and I'm a state patrol in Kansas, and I saw something one day, and I thought it was an aircraft, and you mean that was the aircraft I saw, but there was a UFO flying next to it? I mean, so there could be corroboration of stories by folks on the ground and folks in the air, because a pilot can you know GPS himself and say, we were here at 12:30 at night, we were flying over this spot, and they've got that thing that you can check to find out where airplanes are and what route they took, and so you can find out where they've been, kind of thing, right? So not only that, so you could corroborate the stories, so that normal people who would not necessarily believe a television show, oh, they just made it up. No, it's there's a spaceship on the White House lawn. No, that's just That's just a hologram. No, dude, there's really a spaceship on the White House lawn. Come on, come on. No, there's not. Well, for example, so if one landed, in Tallahassee on the lawn, what? Everybody at FAMU, at FSU would be like, what? There's an alien that's landed on the lawn. Talk to Governor DeSantis. But to the point though, and what if there was a spaceship that landed in each state capital, for example, to have a chat with the governor? Wouldn't that be interesting? Or maybe the same one that said, well, we're in Tallahassee, Florida today, and we're aliens, on it. We're aliens on a tour, and we'll be in Miami, later on this afternoon. Come by and visit with us, and we'll be in Atlanta tomorrow and Birmingham on Friday. It would sort of be like the alien tour, But with that said, though, people are going to have to see it to believe it. And governors and officials or whatever, they're going to have to be present when it happens. So they like the idea of landing, landed at a governor's mansion, or at the state capitol in Tallahassee, what I'm thinking of, down there on Park. That'd be weird, but if it happened and people in Tallahassee and and the FSU and FAMU there and everything, it'd be like, so people would really see it. It could land in the middle of Doak Campbell Stadium, and which ain't a bad idea, but to land, if aliens were to do this and they visited every state in the United States, it would be hard for people to dismiss it. If it landed on the White House lawn, people would go, there's an alien on the White House lawn. No, really, there's okay, but he's over there and you can't see it. You can't. But if it landed in Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, people would know about it. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be like, they'd be like, whoa, dude, So how's the government going to do it? But then also, if this stuff about the Elohim and the aliens are true, then how are they going to do it? How are they going to present themselves? They're going to take over all the television stations and stuff. Is that really going to make people believe them? Well, it might be a start, but then they'd have to have that alien tour. They're going to have an alien tour. There's going to have to be spaceships that people can go see, maybe not go up and touch, but that they can actually see the son of a gun and go, I saw it with my own two eyes. So there's going to be some dang interesting stuff coming up in the next couple of years. And from what Cliff and some of these folks are talking about, it's going to be as early as January next year. And that should be interesting. So I would get my helmets on. I would get out my tinfoil hats just in case. And if you've got something that's heavy duty enough that can ward off a ray gun blast, or an 8-foot tall lizard who's strong as hell. And if you can figure out how to take one of them down, that might not be such a bad idea. So, George might not be such a bad idea, so maybe I should get a weapon in case of aliens. So, but anyway, I love you all. I was here because I was bored and wanted to share some time with. and you are my friends, and I can't think of anything better to do than spend time with my friends. But at the same time, talking about this alien stuff, folks are going to really have to just, swallow it down and go, I'm sorry, but this stuff is real, you know, and there's a lot of stuff that folks are going to have to reconsider that they have been lied to for so long. And you don't have to accept it, you know. There are people still think that that the world is flat, and if the world is flat, then a space alien ain't going to be able to get it for you. you know, I live on a flat Earth, and they're going to go, no, it's not. No, it is. No, it's not. No, the world is, and then, if any of them are lucky, those aliens will take them up and go, that's the Earth, and it's round. you know. So, but anyway, but we need to be kind to those people who are, as Cliff High calls them, the normies. My spirit guides are telling me we're going to have to be nice to these folk. And if are these folks actually going to land? We'll see. They're supposed to, but we'll see. So if they don't land, then I'll be disappointed again, because all the signs were there. Okay, and I'll wait patiently, and I've got my own information, if you will, through the cards and so forth, and other things and I know what I believe in. I believe in the Creator. I am a warrior for Christ. I know what my position is, and for the last couple of years, it seems to be a good position, you know. So, and the things that I learned about Fatima and from what Sister Helene taught me in 1970, and the demise of the Catholic Church, the false Pope, who is the last Pope, the crumbling of the Catholic Church from within, which all matches things in Revelations in the Bible, regardless of the one you read, by the way. And so we are in the end times of things. The Catholic Church is, in an uproar. And by the third secret of Fatima, the third secret is being fulfilled. So within the Catholic Church, Mother Mary and prayers and Vatican secrets and stuff is all coming true. And you say to the rest of the world, well, what's that got to do with space aliens? It has to do with there are a lot of things that are coming to an end. Not necessarily, well, Armageddon in a way, but for the people who, without the space aliens, just what is happening with the Catholic Church and Catholic prophecy and the secret of Fatima and all these things with the Pope and stuff. And I've talked about it many times. And I found out that guess what? The last secret of the third secret of the Fatima has been corroborated through another source, two other sources actually, and that y'all grab a hold of your seats because the third secret had to do with the Catholic Church. And so, whoops, one of the reasons why they wouldn't divulge what the third secret was because the third secret had to do with the last popes. And, here we are with, that fake Francis guy who's not the Pope, but acting like the Pope and changing all the things. Like his recent thing this last couple of days was, it's they invited a busload of transgender men to go see the Pope. Now that's just absurd. And the fact that the Pope is also saying, why can't we bless gay marriages? I'm sorry. Whoa. Within the church, that's a no-no. And for 2,000 years, it's been a no-no. And the idea that he is the Antichrist, and there are a lot of folks now that believe that Francis, or the fake Pope, is the Antichrist. And I've talked about it before. He is, and the church is, one of the, anyway, so believe it or not. So we are in the end times of the Bible because these folks have to see their game plan play out. And we just happen to be here at this time in history. So whether we like it or not, we're stuck, unless we try to, take some kind of way out. It's almost 4:20. I was going to knock out of here, but maybe I'll stay for a couple more minutes and I'll wrap this up. But so there are those folks who believe the Vatican is being controlled by one of the factions of the space aliens, and that there had been sightings and there had been some stuff, and just over the years, they have infiltrated the Vatican and some of the cardinals and bishops and so forth. So, and that, in a way, that wouldn't be hard to do, for them to infiltrate, because some of these alien folk have infiltrated other places, and, they're making decisions and doing stuff, and, okay. Because some of these folks are hybrids, okay? So they look like you and me, and but they act like a giant, a 7-foot tall lizard, and their mom and daddy are, well, mama is a 7-foot tall lizard because they have eggs. But anyway, so camouflage. So the church has been affected by space aliens and other things too, but and the folks in the know, because there are secrets in the Vatican, there are relics of things in the Vatican and some of the catacombs underneath the Vatican. I was watching a documentary the other day, and it was like, ooh, Pope Francis is letting folks in to take a look around the Vatican, the catacombs and stuff, and kind of see what's going on, sort of like an open house. And folks were like getting lost in there, going, oh, what? There is shit down there for going back to 2,000 years. There are bones of people and supposedly saints and this one and that. They got bones of giants and stuff down in the catacombs under the Vatican. They've got stuff. They got aliens. They got alien babies. They got all kinds of stuff up underneath the Vatican. And so if any of that came out really truly, so they'll let you look around, but you don't go over there. That part's closed off. Well, what about it? No, stay over here. Come on, bring the procession this way, going through a museum kind of thing. But there are folks who work in the Vatican who don't know what's in the catacombs. They literally don't. That's how they stumbled upon the priest 400 years ago or 300, however many years ago. I can't remember his name, but you could probably Google Catholic prophecies or something like that and come up with it. Catholic Pope prophecies or something and probably get a hit. But that this guy named the popes for like, the 20 popes or something like that, and said that this would be the last pope, and everything fits. Everything fits from the Catholic prophecy standpoint, not the revelations in the Bible or the secrets of Fatima. Nope, through Catholic prophecy, proven, and and they don't like to talk about it, kind of thing. So what's going on? What is it? What does that have to do with everything? There's a lot of stuff going on. So as the church is doing its thing and crumbling from the inside with this fake pope, to its rebirth from the people who want the Catholic Mass back. 5 minutes on my clock, Chloe. So that the church is being destroyed. Yes. I say the old ways, what they have made the old ways recently, they're going to throw them out. They're going to start over, and pick up where they left off. So is it destroyed? Yes. And people who have corrupted the Catholic Church are going to be found out, and they will be kicked out and otherwise destroyed. Yes. But does that mean it's the end of the world? Well, it's the end of an era. It's the end of all of this, 2,000 years worth of stuff, and the truth is going to come out. And so is that the end? Yeah, I can't wait to see, being an ex-Catholic. But does that necessarily mean the end of the world? Now, there are other things tied into that in the apocalyptic thingy in Revelations. It's not just about the Antichrist and the church. But the Antichrist is already here and he's operating. Make no mistake. And so what's that got to do with it? Well, if the space aliens, the bad dudes, are working for the Bilderberg group, then they want to destroy some buildings and have a hurricane or light some more fires or have a flood somewhere or an earthquake, which is, then these guys up yonder can facilitate. Oh, let's have an earthquake over here and destroy a bunch of people. Okie dokie, boom. And they push a button. And let's have one over here. And, in order to fulfill our Bible as we presented the end times, we need to have a couple more earthquakes on the same day. One over here and one over there, and let's destroy a bunch of shit. Okay. And that gets the people down here on the planet going, it's the end times. We're all going to die, and to some folks that might be true. Now, another thing that was brought up by Stan Deyo that I was watching today is that, and I kind of sort of forgot about this, but, the sun threw us what they called a Carrington event back in the 1800s. And back then, we didn't have electric lines, but there were a bunch of telegraph lines. And the Carrington event was a CME, a coronal mass ejection from the sun, and it hit us. And there were telegraph operators that had their fingers burned. There were some telegraph operators that, because this thing that it electrocuted them. There was so much power in that event, an EMP basically, that it set telephone poles on fire all along where the telegraph wires were. So it is. Thank you very much for reminding me again. So as Stan Deyo put it, all we need is one of them to hit anywhere on this planet. But if it hit the United States, it would send us back to the Stone Age. It really would. We wouldn't need to be attacked by the Russians or the Chinese. There wouldn't be a need for a nuclear event. So what if the space aliens could set off a CME, some kind of solar flare from inside the sun, and pop it out and shoot it in our direction? So they wouldn't actually have to bomb us. All they would have to do is just send one of these flares in our direction. What? Because there's a war going on. What better way to take out a bunch of folks than to have a Carrington event, which we've already had in the 1850s or something like that, and have been proven, it came from the sun, and it did this much damage. And oh my God. So if it set telegraph wires on fire, think of all the power lines that we have and all the energy that could come from this event that would literally light up the United States. All the wires and everything, it would light it up. The wires would literally be on fire. So, if there would be something to be really, truly scared about, the Russians and China, and yeah, but what about a show enough? And we're kind of overdue. But what about one of these solar flares that just hit us? Just because we've been hit by them already. But what if one hits us just right and it was really strong? It's been nice talking to you. Not that I'd be dead or that you would be dead, but I wouldn't be able to talk to you, is my point. So, but anyway, here's another 20. And if the bad guys really wanted to muck with us, then they could use the sun. We wouldn't need an asteroid or an invasion. All they'd have to do is just, and that'd be that. So, but anyway, don't know what this event is coming up, but a lot of people are talking about it. So remote viewers and folks, and it's just going to be interesting. So my friends, we need to just stick together as much as possible and wait and see what develops. But it's going to be damned interesting. I do know that part. My spirit guides are telling me, hold on. If you think this ride has been a funky one up to this point, hold on. Now we'll see. This is without Drake Bailey or Simon Parks or anybody else. Um, and Dante has said that these years were going to be very interesting that we're in right now. And so hold on to your seats. So I will continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe, and that you will continue to have bountiful 420s. So I also pray each and every day that each and every one of you, your friends and family, and all of your acquaintances and all of your relations will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. And like Swan, who went into the dream time, who went through the great void, into the great void, permission was granted through Dragonfly because Swan accepted what the Creator had in store for Swan. And Swan said, okie doke, I'll accept it. And went into the dream time and came back out a swan. Was the ugly duckling first and came back the swan. And as Dragonfly had asked, said, well, what did you learn? And Swan said, I was an ugly duckling, but because I trusted in the Great Spirit and Great Spirit's plan for me, because it was an ugly duckling before it went there, but came back a beautiful swan because she, the swan, believed. And in doing so, received the grace and beauty of the swan, received the grace from the Creator, from the Great Spirit. So, keep that in mind for what it might, because we all have the opportunity to go into the dream time. We all have the opportunity to go into the void and learn and ask and seek to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. That's in the dream time. That's in that space that's out there, that's up there in the space all around us. So Swan believed it and believed what Great Spirit had in store, and she became the beautiful swan. So if you believe what Creator has in store for you, and you don't try to fight it, because there have been many times I tried to fight this, my role as a shaman in training, and I'm just like, oh, please, no, I don't know. And here I am. So, but the more I tried to ignore it, the worse it hurt. And now that I have accepted my fate, it doesn't hurt anymore. Or sometimes when I argue with the universe and they go, hey, you, Hawkeye, bone up, you know. So, but anyway, so I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. This is what, Thursday now? And I hope that you will continue to do as well as possible. And I will continue to pray that shit will not get in your way. That, Michelle and Scotty Boy and Chloe, if you're still around, and I don't know who else is still here, but Katniss, if still there, I know it's breakfast time for her over there. And Steve, I think I saw you slip by here recently. But she floats like a swan, grace underwater. Yeah. But the grace is that for me, I think of grace as like Swan Lake and the ballerinas. We're great. I believe that too. And the friendship that we have bonded with between us here on my channel, and it's your channel too. And I thank you all for being who you are and sharing with each other in your bed. Oh, in my best Tony the Tiger. Yeah. I can't get as deep voiced as the guy who used to do it. Great. He had a great voice. And he was the voice of Tony the Tiger for a bunch of years. Yeah, thank you. I'm doing pretty well under the circumstances. And but like I'm noticing here recently, that when I went to the store the other day, for example, I didn't wear my brace and I walked all over the store. It hurt. But I made it all through the store. And I was like, I was really glad I got back to the truck and could sit down, but I made it, you know. And so my back is acting better, even though I still got pain. It's changing. So, I have made up my mind, I'm not going to bitch about it, but, I'm still having issues, but I volunteered for it. So if I'm going to accept the operation, then I have to accept the healing, even if it takes longer. than I'd hoped for. So it's like the universe is sort of telling me, it's like, look, we didn't say this was going to be no freaking picnic. You know, we opened up your back twice, you know, and ground on your vertebrae. And no, you agreed to do this, okie doke. But we didn't tell you that you were just going to get up and jump up and go running around the block. Oh, you know, oh, you're 71. Yeah. Oh, and your vertebrae is, oh, and we ground on you. Oh, and you know, oh, so it might take longer for you to freaking heal. So shut up, you know. So, okay, but I have noticed that there's been a difference. So knock on wood, I'll take what I can get. You know what I mean? So thank you, Michelle. And thank you all. Honestly, I mean it. So, and this is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It's not 4 hours. I was looking back over my other videos. I was like, God, what's this thing about 4 hour long videos, you know? But anyway, nanny, boo boo. It's only going to be 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I love you. I'm going to shut this thing off and put the phone back on charge. And y'all stay warm. Hopefully I will talk to you soon. Okay. And be nice, be sweet, and keep it between the ditches. And cheers, my friends. And yes, Virginia, aliens do exist. and maybe Santa Claus too, but aliens for real, you know. Okie dokie, bye bye.